The following program is brought to you courtesy of a grant provided by the Bank of Princeton.
Good evening, I'm Lou Goldstein and welcome to another edition of Focus On. Tonight our show focuses on small business, and I'm lucky to have as my guest tonight Anthony Carabelli, who is a business advocate in the Office of Economic Development and Sustainability over at the County of Mercer, and Lorraine Allen, who serves as the Regional Director for the College of New Jersey's Small Business Development Center. Thank you both for coming on the show.
Thank you, Lou, for having us.
Thank you.
Before we get to talking about some of the interest about small business and what you do, I thought I'd give the audience at home a little bit about your backgrounds so they know exactly who you are. And I'll start with you, Lorraine. As I said before, you've served as Regional Director over College of New Jersey in the Small Business Development Center for a while now. And prior to that, you were also Assistant Director on behalf of the U.S. Small Business Administration for the state of New Jersey. And specializing in marketing, sales, and government procurement, Lorraine has also forged special projects including originating Trenton Small Business Week, the Academic Administrators Institute, the QuickBooks Center for Business, and procurement training for the state. She is the recipient of many awards, including the New Jersey Association of Women Business Owners and Metropolitan Trenton African American Chamber of Commerce, as well as Middlesex County Regional Chamber of Commerce Businesswoman of the Year and Trenton Small Business Advocate of the Year. Very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
Anthony, as I said, works over at the County of Mercer in the Office of Economic Development and Sustainability, working with the Mercer County Loan Fund, which provides loans to small businesses and startups, and overseeing the Small Business Development Center Consultant Program, which is a federal and state-run entity that provides business consulting services throughout the region. Prior to that, he served as the Economic Development Director for the Division of Economic Development for the City of Trenton, where he directed and created and encouraged and enhanced job growth and economic development in the city of Trenton, and helped to manage the revitalization efforts of city-owned properties. So welcome aboard tonight, and I'd like to start with some questions regarding small businesses. For those, a lot of times people at home think about, you know what, I'd like to start a small business, and nobody knows exactly how to do it all the time, or they may not have the resources, or they may not have the confidence in knowing what to do or where to go. And I thought maybe by talking about your two agencies, hopefully you could give a little advice and talk about what type of services that the Center and the Office of Economic Development provide for small businesses, first off. So either one. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You want to start?
Okay. Well, Lou, I would have to say that probably the primary response by the county executive and the Board of Chosen Freeholders was to our small business community and generating economic development. We have tens of thousands of small businesses out there, and what we tried to do is, I think we've done a very good job and successful job in putting something together with the SBDC. We have a strong working relationship with the Small Business Development Center, where we host and reach out to the small business community, various events and seminars, through various locations throughout the county. We also work, as you mentioned, the Mercer County Loan Fund, trying to offer loans to small businesses. And I think that it's foremost in the economic development plan of the county executive to see small business growth, since we do have such a strong number of small businesses that are giving birth actually right now in the county of Mercer.
So, and probably the very best step to segue on that is that to first go and take a class. We jointly host a question and answer, a Q&A class or a startup class, because a lot of people, they have an idea and they think, oh yeah, I want to start a business, but starting the business and thinking about it are two entirely different things. So this way they get a little bit of an idea by going to a class first and listening to not only telling all the responsibilities, the things you're going to have to consider in starting your business, but also they're going to feel to get an opportunity to network with other people in a similar situation. And a lot of time, that's a showstopper right there for them. They say, oh, I don't know, I didn't think of all that.
Right.
On the other hand, it could be also that just the event that helps give them some foundation and buoys them into the next step And then they should then reach out to the county or the SBDC and sit down with somebody and talk with them one-on-one.
Okay. Could you, and you mentioned one of these events and programs, but I was wondering if you could describe other programs and events that you organize for small businesses in the area, just to get a feel for, what your offices do.
Under the county, we have, jointly we do how to finance a business in Mercer County, how to start a business, how to do business.
Doing business with the county.
With the government.
Right.
You have also, there are a whole host, in fact, not just in business planning and developing your classes, but now, especially when you're in it, business moves fast. It's a whole different world today. We teach them about social media, how to do business with the government. There's so many factors in marketing, also QuickBooks, so money management, very critical on how to manage their money, especially going in.
So how have small businesses improved as a result of these services?
Well, I think they get a first-hand knowledge, especially one of the programs that we offer this year. We're offering 4 to 5 times this upcoming year at various library locations throughout the county is how to start a business from A to Z. And Lorraine, maybe you disagree or agree, but I feel that I've sat through that lecture on numerous occasions, and it provides a pretty good understanding of what you need to succeed as a small business, and that it delves a little bit into the business plan and the importance of the business plan, but it sort of makes you make that decision at that point in time on whether should I take that next step? Should I take that next step? Is this right for me, opening up a business? So I think that in particular is one of our showcase seminars that I feel is really does well. In addition to that, we have, if you feel that you're at a position where you feel your business is up and running, or it's getting to a point where you're looking for business out there, doing business with government is also vital and also important. There's government contracts out there that could be that are placed as RFPs on the county website. So there's a lot of work that's available out there, and it's just knowing where to find those various resources. So our office, along with Lorraine's office, right, tries to put that forefront. And if people are interested in looking at the county website, economic development website, they can go to www.businessinmercer.com for more information. They can contact our office, 609-989-6555, or they can also visit the SBDC's website for further information. So it's out there, the information is out there. To get back to your question though, how to start a business from A to Z really answers some of those questions. So.
Can I share something with you too on an add-on on that? I think one thing, and here's like a little freebie in a sense, that even when they get all this information and they come to the Q&A or the how to start a business, there's one thing that's really the most important, and really it does a favor for anybody who's thinking it. They need to know, what do they have to offer, to who, where do they find them? That's the who's going to pay them for it.
Right.
Where are they going to find them, okay? And then how are they going to reach them? You know, the days are gone when you just are going to give, we put an ad in the newspaper. That's not the way you reach people today. So this is the critical, because the business plan, record keep, nothing happens without that customer. And so that's really the key critical element, besides where do I hire, where do I file, and how do I do my books. Right. They need to know these key things on how they're going to find and pursue a customer is the most critical before anything.
And sometimes I believe that the number one question before they go through this educational phase or gain the knowledge that they need to start up a business, one of the first questions that they're asking themselves prior to going into some of these seminars or sitting down for a consultation is, how am I going to finance my business? When in fact, the marketing questions, who am I going to hire? How do I make myself more visible? How do I set up my business plan? Are critical. The financing question always needs to be answered, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I think that those questions are also critical to be discussed, and that's where we can lend a hand. So.
Okay. You mentioned how it's a little different now about finding that customer. You don't put the ad in the paper, as you said. Where are the more non-traditional which have become now the traditional sources of finding those customers? You know, what has changed? You know, okay, so we're not in the newspaper. Where are we finding people?
Well, mainly online has put a whole new dimension into marketing and communication, because not only is that where everybody's on,
Right.
but there's so much information on, it's like too much information. How do you break through that and capture their attention? Because one of the first questions you're asked are, do you have a website?
Right, sure.
You know, so it's that way. Non-traditional, real non-traditional is not only finding but reaching, is texting. Okay, some communities really communicate better if you text to them. There are other communities that email is okay. You know what is also a creative art right now? Only because everybody still has one, they're not using them as much, but fax machines, because they're very quiet.
Okay.
You see, so it depends on your business and what you're trying to get across. A lot of restaurants use them, you know, and some, we'll see travel things come. But for the most part, it can be used very effectively right now. But it all depends, again, on the what and, you know, what you have to who, where do you find them, and how you reach them. You really have to take into factor where are they huddling, and that's how you determine how you market to them.
Okay. For an individual who's, as you said, starting out, wants to start a small business and has an idea, and a lot of times they'll come to a seminar, I'm more concerned about people knowing about the seminars taking place, and besides going to your website, how do people know who might not have the resources? You know, that they have the idea. How do they get to that point? In other words, there's a connection between, starting a business, knowing the essentials to start a business, and getting to the point where you can ask somebody, "How do I do this?" So, how does the person who really doesn't have the access, how do they start a business? What type of, outreach do we have for individuals?
Well, sometimes we'll receive some phone calls on some of those individuals that you have alluded to. So they can always reach to us at the Economic Development Office at the county. In addition to that, I think, and this falls with the SBDC, I think that, if they're sometimes they could be intimidated by a bigger setting, or, there's some fears to be overcome. And one of the good things is that the Small Business Development Center acts as they can do one-on-one consultation, so they can be there to answer those questions that someone might be intimidated to ask in a sort of like a classroom setting. So I feel that that's also important to be noted, that SBDC, in partnership with the County of Mercer, offers those types of programs, and they can make available at various different library locations, or even at their office at the College of New Jersey, some of those one-on-ones that they could provide to the entrepreneur or startup.
Okay.
They probably could first also start with small, using the internet, using Google, using their search, if they don't know how or where.
Okay.
They could start in that way, just go and look, because a lot of times, and they first should access the resource of their municipal government, where they're at, and that would say, in this case, call the county, or wherever they're at. And look at those things, because a lot of the services are posted through their economic development, as well as the state and the federal.
Okay.
But if they're looking and they say, I would start a business Mercer County on their Google, then they'll find it. And then they should be calling and asking questions, because there are enough people through the government programs alone that could help them.
One of the important pieces that we've done this past year, basically in response to a request by the county executive and the board of chosen freeholders, was to put together a guide, a business guide, a handbook, so to speak,
okay,
which provides information on a variety of topics on how to start a business, state level questions, county level questions, on the municipal level in the County of Mercer. Who do you need to contact for permitting issues, engineering concerns, licensing? Those answers are part of this guidebook, and I'm accessible to at the county office, along with my director, Liz Moyle. We make ourselves available, and we have the information at our county office. So if there's people who don't have access to the internet, they could come to our county building and gain that information. So,
good to know. For prospective business business and entrepreneurs. How can they apply for loans and startup funds, and are there any strings attached to receiving these loans?
Go ahead, you answer it first. I want to think of how I answer strings.
Well, we have at the county a Mercer County Loan Fund, which we operate out of the Regional Business Assistance Corporation.
Okay.
The Mercer County Loan Fund offers loans anywhere from $25,000 to $125,000. Right now, the interest rate is at 8%. So that could be considered a pretty fair rate considering a small business or a startup. They do have conditions that you need to meet. They're less stringent than the conventional route, although I think looking into the conventional route is always an option. Small business lending today is a little bit tight, so this offers an opportunity for them to look into another avenue through a Mercer County Loan Fund. Strings attached, they normally will have to show cash flow, collateral, decent credit scores, but the RBAC, the Regional Business Assistance Corporation, with our Mercer County Loan Fund, is willing to work with them. So.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much, they need to demonstrate, the startups, traditionally, retail and restaurants are difficult to fund because they're labor intensive, inventory intensive. Historically, 80% fail of businesses, period. 80% of those are retail and restaurants. Right. So, those are pretty consistent, so it's more difficult. But I always encourage clients to think like a lawyer and the fact that really make your case and give enough information, and you're not asking somebody, please help me, but please be my partner. And so if you were a partner, what would you expect? Because, for instance, lenders are going to want to, even if it's a small amount, they may want to consider your equity, but we get very often that, oh no, I don't want to put my house, I don't want to risk my house. Well, from a lender's point of view, which is fair, even if it's a little bit, they're saying, well, I know, but if you're not confident about it, how do you expect us to be? Right. So that's possible. There's also now some small programs that are also where these may not fit it, that maybe there are little credit builder loan programs out there now where they can give a little small loan and prep to build some credit. And that goes a long way, because if you have a credit challenge and you're not really eligible for the loans just yet, see, that's the way we look at it. It's not that you can't, it's just you just can't just right now. So what we do is you replan, you start smaller. You start within the tank that you can grow to at this time. And if you start that way, then you have an opportunity for success. So we can help a business get into a credit builder and graduate. So they just have to be willing to, maybe they can't open the full 50-seater restaurant just yet, right, but we might be able to start with a small little, either catering or summer, but we can start, we just start where we can.
Okay, that makes sense. Are there any success stories that you can share about individuals who you've worked with who have, come to you and, now are operating, successful small businesses?
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
There's definitely several that have come to mind that we've worked with in nurturing along. I know has probably a whole litany of them. I don't want to single out too many, but we have some that one individual just opened up a cafe recently in Hamilton and was guided through the process. We have some restaurants that have opened up. One that's actually in the city of Trenton that's looking for financing through the Mercer County Loan Fund, and has been doing is gaining some traction, and that's one situation that you mentioned, that they may not be able to go for the whole ball of wax, so to speak, but they can go for a little bit of a smaller type of loan to get them at least get them some sound footing so that maybe a few years from now they can be a little bit better established.
Oh, well, we have dozens and hundreds of success stories, but two, I just want to share really quick, two in different ways. One was a client who was starting, it was an area of home repair or home construction that worked through a program of weatherization.
And we help the startup, not only their full startup, but them also apply for bids because of the state opportunities and weatherization throughout the state, throughout the country actually. And as a result, this business was able to, by little, but following strict guidance, was able to successfully bid and get awarded contracts. And also, and then another one is like a restart. There's a local company that has been established here for a long time and is now actually raised their property, and now they're opening a whole huge grand entertainment center. And we also help them with helping getting finance. That's a restart. That was an established company that is starting and really expanding. Well, we can restart, and was able to get significant financing for this in the local area.
That's good. That's good. So it sounds like there are a lot of success stories out there.
Yeah, I would definitely. Over the last, I would say over the last several years, we've been able to, especially through the Mercer County Loan Fund, put out, I think it was $3 to $5 million in financing. So, I mean, I think that we've been moving in the right direction, especially through the loan fund, especially working in partnership with SBDC to help the startup, help the small business find their way and answer some of those questions that need to be tackled.
Well, just together alone over the last, 3.5 or 4 years, it's been almost $11 million just in financing.
That's right.
So just those, 600 businesses. There's a lot of,
That's
lot of work, right? And the successes are little and big.
Well, I was going to ask you, in this economic climate today, do you foresee, and looking into the future, do you see different challenges, that we haven't had in the past as far as, starting a successful business in this economic climate?
Well, frankly, the economic climate, to me, the way I look at it is not the way necessarily is the traditional route. In every climate, there's an opportunity. It depends on how you look at it. Right. And it truly is, operating a business is reflective of the survival of the fittest. You have to be a CEO to be able to travel the troubled waters. And the idea, and part of the skills to use for that, is don't be a lone ranger. When you start seeing the little troubled waters, that's when you reach out in Coley County and say, I need help. Or you go to SBDC or your town and say, this is, I'm struggling. And that is it, because every time there's an opportunity, because new businesses are born within businesses as a result of the economy. But if you sit down and let it control you, which
right.
is the challenge, the greater challenge right now, but that's the tip. You have to see the opportunity in it, not the...
I would agree, and I just would add that, similar to what Lorraine mentioned, I think for a small business and an entrepreneur, no matter what economy we're dealing with, you still have to be able to network. You still have to be able to be motivated to understand the technological advances, whether it's through social media to promote your business. And when I mentioned networking, I mentioned maybe it might be an opportunity for you to be involved with some of the local chambers. And once your business is established, maybe attend some of those events. Whether it's at the Mercer Regional Chamber or the Princeton Regional Chamber, just to name a few local ones, there are opportunities there. So those things I think hold true no matter what economy we're dealing with. Some of the technological advances that might be more focused on the industry that you're involved with, you may need to take a refresher course of some sort to make sure that you're standing above your competitors in how you promote your business.
I have to agree with Anthony, because that's the toughest thing right now. For instance, restaurants, again, is an easy one. But that's not, there's all kinds of small businesses. But I have to agree with you. Technology is probably the greatest challenge, because it's traveling at the speed of light now, and people are trying to keep up, just trying to learn and trying to use and say, how do I use it? And that's probably their greatest challenge.
Yeah. So if someone came to you, was planning to come to you, what type of paperwork, if they want to have a meeting with you, is there something that they should prepare for that meeting, something that you would like to see them bring to you besides the idea in their head about what they want to do?
Oh yeah, we want to stack this big.
If it's not 5 papers or more. No. we truthfully, I mean, our doors are open. The Economic
Right.
Development Office at the county is open. I'm sure Lorraine can say the same thing. What I try to guide people on is if you could, if you can put at least the framework of a business plan together. There's information on SBA.gov that's available on what are some of the criteria that you should think about in putting together your business plan. So we talk about that over the phone, but we have no problem meeting with someone who has an idea or a vision on what they feel would be successful for them and for the community.
And the best thing too is as they're going along to keep writing down, as the questions come, write them down.
Right.
Because you forget. And then we try to address them, make sure that way we don't forget to address them, and that might even answer other questions. So just really just keep writing it down and don't be a Lone Ranger. Embrace anybody who can help and have information. There's a lot of resources out there that there's just no way they're used to capacity.
And don't be intimidated or nervous about your idea. I mean, if you feel that this is something that is going to be successful, or something that you feel that you have, this is what you were made to do, don't hold back. I think that there's a lot of individuals that get a little bit of cold feet before they actually make the approach, and it is trying. But I think that with the help of the SBDC and our offices, I think that you'll be able to right that ship. So,
I think you've mentioned this, but I just want to go over it one more time. Obstacles that prospective entrepreneurs face. What are some of the obstacles, the main obstacle that someone faces, and how can they overcome it?
I would mention just a couple that come to mind. One is competition. That would be knowing your competition. Who is your competition? And the other important thing is the location.
Okay.
It's all about location. Depending upon the business that you're going to have, where do you want to locate and establish yourself, and do the homework on those two factors. And we touched on financing and everything like that, but those two come to mind.
I would just answer, for time, I would just say all obstacles can be answered if you go out and get help. If you go out and ask for more help,
true.
You can address all obstacles. So.
Okay, so real quickly, 30 seconds. The future, small businesses, you're looking in the looking glass right now. Predictions for the future.
They've been the backbone of the country. They'll remain the backbone of the country.
That's exactly right. I have a positive feeling on the direction of our economy and our small business growth. I know that we've been fielding more calls and more interest about new entrepreneurs, startups, and I feel that it's moving in the right direction. So.
Well, I thank you both for coming on the show tonight. It was very informative, and hopefully anybody out there who's thinking of starting a small business, call Anthony, call Lorraine. Anthony's at the County Mercer, Lorraine's over at the College of New Jersey. They'll both be willing to help you out, and hopefully your idea will be the idea that will be hopefully shopping in or eating in or participating in down the road. So don't be shy. You got an idea, these two individuals can help you out, and they've been very informative, and hopefully you've enjoyed our program tonight. So for Focus On, this is Lou Goldstein telling you to stay healthy, stay involved, stay active, and I'll see you next week for another edition of Focus On. Good night.
This program was brought to you through a grant provided by the Bank of Princeton.